vitamin D. You know, people was out in the sun, so we don't talk a little bit on vitamin D here. So calciferol is the term. Now, what's interesting with vitamin D is that, well, I think I mentioned sometime before that vitamin D, you know, there's still between whether to call it a hormone or a steroid or a vitamin. But the reason why that has a lot to do with the fact that because it's easily accessible, they class it as non-essential. It could be classed as non-essential, while a vitamin has to be essential, right? Meaning that you can't do without it, or a lack of it would cause certain issues. But vitamin D, the main source of it is sunlight, all right? But yet still, worldwide, there is a vitamin D deficiency or insufficiency, even though the main source of it is sunlight. So I'm guessing that is one of the reasons why it is still classed as a vitamin, though it's a steroid hormone basically, right? So to start on that,
but how you said a shortage?
Insufficiency, yeah, insufficiency.
How when the sunlight is one of the biggest providers of vitamin D?
Right. So, and that's what we're going to look at. So then you have geographical locations of people. So some people live in places that don't get as much sunlight. And then you also have the whole fear and scare that most people have with reference to sunlight or sun exposure. And for the past couple of decades, we have seen where the push that sunlight could cause cancer and so forth, that have caused people to become a lot fearful, and therefore they cover up themselves a lot, or anytime they get in some sun exposure, going to be exposed by the sun, they would wear a lot of sunscreen to protect themselves from the so-called damage that the sun would cause. Now, strangely enough, when I was doing, I think it was last year, when we were going through the series of cancer, and we were looking at skin cancers, we're seeing that skin cancer is on the rise today, but sun exposure is at the lowest level it has been in our recorded history. So which means less people are having getting exposed to the sun, but more people are developing skin cancer, right? And I mean, that is of no surprise to me, because I know the math's not mathsing, right?
I'm trying to maths here. I'm trying to make 1 + 1 = 2 here with what you just said. So explain it to me.
Right. So it's of no surprise to me that things like that is happening, because we focus so much on, you know, getting in specific nutrients, and you should get in this amount and that amount. And what people do not focus on are things that block those nutrients from being absorbed, things that affect the metabolic process of those nutrients, right? Things that affect that whole conversion process into the most active forms. And that is where the problem lies. So many people are just focused on, oh, you just need to get it in. Not because you consume something mean that it is bioavailable. So when it comes to vitamin D, you have the two forms, right? Because you have vitamin D2, ergocalciferol, and vitamin D3, cholecalciferol. All right. Now the D3 is the most active form, or the most active out of those two. It has to be converted into calitriol, which is the most active form of it, actually. So, but that conversion, those things all take certain nutrients, right? So,
just 1 second. I was just about to ask you that, right? I remember during the pandemic, right? Vitamin D came up a lot of times. Vitamin D, right? For your immune system and everything. And then I used to go to the drugstore, and I was introduced to D3. Right. So I know you were explaining just now, but is there any big difference between vitamin D and D3?
Right. So vitamin D2, ergocalciferol, is an unspecified form of it, which most people usually get from plants. Of course, that is not the best source of it. In fact, they don't even know, it's still up for debate if your body could even utilize it. All right. So the best form of vitamin D would be the D3.
The D3.
Right, which you can get of course, from animal-based foods, and of course, the number one source is sunlight. Sunlight provides between 50 to 90% of all the vitamin D3 that the human body needs, 50 to 90%.
Wow.
But with people protecting themselves so much from the sun, that causes a problem. Then you have another issue with regards to vitamin D, and that has to do with cholesterol. You need cholesterol in order for the UVB rays that are making contact with your skin to convert those rays into vitamin D3. But for decades, people have been hearing that cholesterol is not good and lower your cholesterol levels, and many people are on statin drugs lowering their cholesterol levels, and they are indirectly damaging their body's ability to convert UVB rays into vitamin D. Now, the effects of vitamin D, let's see if we get permission here to share the screen. So I just want
Share
to
the
show,
screen, director.
I just want to show what deficiencies can cause, so just some of them. Just some of the issues that...
This is vitamin D deficiencies, right?
Yeah, vitamin D deficiencies.
All right.
All right. So, all right. So let's pull it up here. All right. So let me know when you are seeing the screen.
I think
here.
yeah, you're ready to go.
All right. So vitamin D deficiency health risks. So it affects the brain, depression, schizophrenia. It affects the respiratory system, asthma, wheezing, circulatory system, high blood pressure, coronary heart diseases, the pancreas, type 1 diabetes, muscles, ache, weakness, rickets, osteoporosis, and then you have some other conditions like Crohn's disease and multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, cancer, influenza, and tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis, yeah.
Yeah, what you would see though with vitamin D is that it doesn't just affect one thing. It has it ranges into many different things. In fact, if I share here from the National Library of Medicine, look at what it's going to say here with regards to it. I want to scroll down. It says vitamin D deficiency is a global health problem. With all the medical advances of the century, vitamin D deficiency is still epidemic. Over 1 billion people worldwide are vitamin D deficient or insufficient, yet no international health organization or governmental body has declared a health emergency to warn the public about the urgent need of achieving sufficient vitamin D blood levels. Vitamin D, also described as sun vitamin, is a steroid with hormone-like activity. It regulates the function of over 200 genes and is essential for growth and development. There are two forms of vitamin D, vitamin D2, orgocalciferol, and vitamin D3, cholecalciferol. Vitamin D status depends on the production of vitamin D3 in the skin under the influence of ultraviolet radiation from sun and vitamin D intake through diet or vitamin D supplements. Usually 50 to 90% of vitamin D is produced by sunshine exposure. Right? So down here also shows other health issues that can be caused from vitamin D deficiency: obesity, diabetes, hypertension, depression, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, osteoporosis, degenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's disease. As you could see, it's a lot of stuff, right? It's a lot of stuff. It says it may even contribute to development of cancers, especially breast cancer, prostate, and colon cancer.
Wow.
So it branches off into a lot. I mean, it's the sun we're dealing with, right? Which is essential for life. So when you have deficiencies from sunlight, the far-reaching effects is advanced. But what most people don't understand is when it comes to the body converting vitamin D into useful form, you need things like magnesium, right? Now, vitamin D also affects calcium. So it helps the body with absorption of calcium, reabsorption of calcium, and so forth. So conditions like rickets, which is those bone disease, and even osteoporosis can be affected by your vitamin D levels. So a lot of people get bone fractures because their vitamin D levels are too low, and hypothyroidism is also affected. Your thyroids are affected by vitamin D as well. But other things that affect it is like magnesium. You need magnesium in order for the body to get vitamin D into its most active form. But there are a lot of foods out here, especially things in the lines of bean seeds, nuts, and grains, that blocks magnesium. But you know, most people don't associate those things with the far-reaching effect because a lot of people don't believe that those foods block anything, right? But the documentation is there, the evidence is there. You also have things like your cells, the vitamin D would attach to something called the zinc finger, right? So the zinc finger is a protein structure that plays a lot of role with regards to your DNA and so forth in the human body.
The zinc finger.
But when you consume things that block zinc, right, you're going to affect its ability to do its job. So therefore, though you may be getting the sun exposure, your body can't produce the vitamin D that it should. And if it's producing it, you're not going to be able to utilize it as it should. And that is what I do, because let's be real, everybody don't need to have this particular knowledge of understanding zinc fingers and all of these things. Our ancestors didn't. They just ate correctly. That's all.
Yeah, more or less,
what is eaten correctly? And that's where the problem is, because plenty of people assume that they're eating correctly. If you're eating correctly, then why are you sick?
But I must say,
and we need to understand sickness.
And I must say that more and more I'm learning how important nutrition is, right? Like I was talking to a guy yesterday about just getting fit and weight loss, and he said it straight up. He said, "Listen, stay away from flour." You know, he made the point that people believe that it's how much you consume. But like a beer drinker. A beer drinker would believe that he drink too much beer, so he got beer belly. Let me put it that way, right?
Yeah.
But what he was explaining to me, it's not so much the beer, but it's the flour. Now the beer, he ain't saying the beer is a good thing. He's just saying flour more likely to give you that than a beer. You understand what I'm saying?
Now what I want to correct in general is we tend to look at weight as a contributing factor to regard to health. So we see somebody, like people might go to the gym and they'll say, right, I'm watching my sugars, right? And I'm reducing my sugars, fine, because they are trying to get weight loss. But then how they are going about reducing their sugars to achieve weight loss is unhealthy, because you could lose weight and still be unhealthy.
Unhealthy, yeah.
You can do things to lose weight and damage your internal health. But you're looking at the outside and you're seeing you're getting smaller, fine. Like many people in the gym have big, strong, muscular people in the gym, but internally their organs are screaming because they are unhealthy. So we have to go beyond just simply thinking that if I'm getting weight loss, it means that I'm healthy. We have to go beyond that. We have to look at health itself. Right, and stop thinking that my weight is what's telling me if I'm doing something right or wrong. You can lose weight. You could look very good and be very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Right, because of what you have been consuming would facilitate weight loss, yes, but it's damaging your organs. It's damaging your DNA. It's damaging your cells. And people are unaware of that. And so we have to have a different approach to health. So people would say, well, I just drink beers, not me, right? I'm saying this is what people say. I don't drink any form of alcohol.
Now,
but people say, I would drink beers, but I don't put on weight.
Yeah.
Right? Good. Right. So they'll say, I drink beers, but I don't put on any weight. So they automatically think that drinking beers is fine.
Yeah.
Not understanding the other health issues that drinking, every part that alcohol touches in the body. Right? Every part from your mouth goes all the way down. It can cause cancer. Every single part.
Okay.
Right? And alcohol it contributes to over 200 different diseases and more. Right? But many people are unaware of that and they think, okay, once I'm not putting on weight from it, that it is fine. That is not how we're supposed to look at health. Right? So people are consuming things that's blocking their ability to produce the nutrients that the body needs. Right? And because they are thinking, I am eating it, therefore I am getting it, right? They think that their body is utilizing it. That is not how it works. So there's a reason why vitamin D is an epidemic worldwide. Even though many people in the Caribbean, where we have a lot of sunlight, they are still deficient of vitamin D. in the sun, but the body can't produce it as it should because of what they are eating that is blocking it. If you want to understand what you're supposed to be eating, if you want to understand things that what is blocking these things, that's what my clinic is about. I had somebody came to me last week, right, because of an injury they got from working out in the gym, right? And what I started to show them, foods with protease inhibitors. Because my question is not that you get an injury, is why isn't the injury healing? So when I start to show them foods with protease inhibitors, they turn to watch the wives, they're like, but this is what we eating every day. We never knew that these things block your body from using protein. So they're thinking I am eating the protein and not understanding, right, that there are things that I'm eating that blocks the body from using protein.
From using protein, yeah.
Right? And this is the average person, right?
I think I have that problem.
I'm going to say the average, the majority of people in this country.
I think I have that problem.
Not even just in this country, worldwide.
I think I have that problem.
Most people are unaware of these things. So look, I joined back the gym. Right? Remember I told you that a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to start back exercising. Right? And I did. And I gained 11 pounds in 4 weeks. 11 pounds of lean mass. Right? Which for some people takes an entire year to do. Right? Yeah. But I know how to eat. Because I know how to eat, my body would maximize the nutrients that I consume. So I'm able to put on lean, healthy mass very fast. Because I know how to eat. Right? If people want to improve their health, you must start with your nutrition. That is the most important thing. It is the biggest contributor to your health. Your nutrition. The biggest. And it's also the area that people place the least amount of attention on. So we continue to eat badly, and a lot of people are addicted to food. So many people don't even want to hear anything with regards to nutrition until they're sick. Yeah. And when they reach sick too, they still don't really want to hear, because now they don't want to feel responsible for themselves being sick. All right. Well, Seth, right? we out of time, but that's something I wanted to ask you, but I'll message you what it is. Somebody told me something yesterday. Real quick. Somebody told me something yesterday. Your body don't need vitamins, it needs minerals. Your body needs both. All right. Needs both. It both needs vitamins and minerals. In fact, if you get deficiencies in, for example, a deficiency in vitamin D can cause a deficiency in calcium, which is a mineral. Right. Okay. Right. So it needs both for balance. For balance, right? For balance. So if you lack in one, you could also lack the other, because they accompany each other, and they're like, basically you could call them cofactors. All right, cool, man. All right, so Seth, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks a lot for coming out on Sunday, and look forward to next week, man. All right then. Thanks for having me. Yeah, man. Take care. So that is Seth Wyola aboard on the inside there.